Hello, today we're going to be talking about the upcoming introduction of the VAT domestic reverse charge scheme for the construction sector, and we'll simply refer to this as the reverse charge. Despite being delayed twice previously, the reverse charge will come into force on the 1st of March 2021, and this will fundamentally alter the way businesses within the construction industry scheme, also known as the CIS scheme, will record, report and pay VAT. You'll be affected if you are registered for VAT and you supply or receive services under the CIS scheme, and the reverse charge affects both contractors and subcontractors who supply and receive certain kinds of construction services in the UK. To confirm, the reverse charge only applies if both the supplier or subcontractor and the customer or contractor are VAT registered. So, for example, if you're a subcontractor and not registered for VAT, you don't charge VAT and therefore the reverse charge does not apply. These new rules are mandatory. You can't opt in or opt out or only apply it to certain invoices. You should continue to apply the normal VAT rules if either you issue invoices before the 1st of March 2021 or your customer pays you before the 1st of March 2021. The big change is that where the reverse charge applies, the customer will now pay the VAT that is due directly to HMRC instead of paying it to the supplier. Under the new rules, VAT registered businesses who provide a construction service and any related goods to a VAT registered customer who is not an end user no longer need to account for VAT. No VAT is charged to the customer, so no VAT needs to be declared and paid over to HMRC. Instead, it is the customer who will account for the VAT as output tax, as if they made the supply to themselves. In turn, the customer can recover the VAT subject to the normal rules for VAT recovery. The reverse charge may not apply to all of the construction services that you supply from the 1st of March 2021, but there is a flowchart on gov.uk which will help you to decide whether to apply the normal VAT rules or the reverse charge rules. You need to check the flowchart each time you supply construction services from the 1st of March 2021, even if you are dealing with the same customer, as each new contract may be different from the one before. So, following the steps through the flowcharts. Question 1. Does the supply fall within the scope of CIS? In other words, are you supplying specified construction services through CIS? Specified construction services include constructing, altering, repairing or demolishing buildings or any works such as walls, roadworks or power lines, preparation or completion work for other specified services such as site clearance, excavation or landscaping, internal cleaning of buildings if part of construction, alteration or repair work, installing heating, lighting, air conditioning, drainage or similar systems, and also internal or external painting or decorating of buildings. This is by no means a full list of specified construction services, and if in doubt, you should check the detailed guidance. If you answer no, and you are not providing specified construction services, then you do not apply the VAT reverse charge. You should charge your customer the VAT due and account for it to HMRC in the usual way. Question 2. Is the supply standard rated or reduced rated? If your services are zero rated, you should answer no to this question. VAT for most work by builders and similar trades such as plumbers, plasterers and carpenters is charged at the standard rate of 20%, but there are some exceptions. You may be able to charge the reduced rate of 5% for some kinds of work if it meets certain conditions, including converting a building into a house or flat and renovating an empty house or flat. You may zero rate some other types of work if it meets certain conditions, including building a new property and construction work on other types of buildings. If you answer no, i.e. that you are making zero rated supplies, then carry on as you do now. Question 3. Is your customer VAT registered? If you do work for a private homeowner on their own property, it's very unlikely that your customer is registered for VAT. But if a contractor engages you as a subcontractor to do work for a private homeowner, the contractor is your customer and it's likely that they are registered for VAT. The reverse charge doesn't apply if your customer isn't registered for VAT in the UK, so charge your customer the VAT due and account for it to HMRC in the usual way. You can check your customer's VAT number is valid and that it also belongs to them on the European Commission website. Question 4. Is your customer registered for CIS? If you were to do work for a shopkeeper, it's very unlikely your customer would be registered for CIS. But if a contractor were to engage you as their subcontractor to do work for a shopkeeper, the contractor would be your customer and they should be registered for CIS. If you have evidence of your customer's CIS registration, for example a statement of deductions, you should keep it as part of your VAT records. Otherwise, you should ask your customer to provide details of their CIS registration or a copy of their CIS verification of you and keep this as part of your VAT records. If a new customer can't provide evidence that they're registered as a contractor for CIS, you can use the CIS verification system to check if you have access to it. If you answer no to this question, i.e. your customer isn't registered for CIS, apply the normal VAT rules. You should charge your customer the VAT due and account for it to HMRC in the usual way. Question 5. Has your customer provided confirmation that it is an end user? End users are consumers or final customers of building and construction services. They're usually businesses that are registered for CIS but don't make onward supplies of construction services. The reverse charge doesn't apply to end users or intermediary suppliers linked to them. If your customer says they are an end user, ask them to confirm this in writing, either digitally or on paper, and keep this somewhere safe. There is no set wording, but they must make it clear that they are an end user. If they are the end user, apply the normal VAT rules. You should charge your customer the VAT due and account for it to HMRC in the usual way. If your customer hasn't confirmed that they are an end user or intermediary supplier, apply the VAT reverse charge. I should also mention that if you're a subcontractor, it doesn't matter if you're paid gross or net of tax and national insurance deductions. If the other conditions are satisfied in the flowchart, you need to apply the VAT reverse charge to your services. In terms of invoices, you should apply the normal VAT rules if either you issue your invoice before the 1st of March 2021 or your customer pays you before the 1st of March 2021. You should charge your customer the VAT due and account for it to HMRC in the usual way. Apply the reverse charge to all invoices raised from the 1st of March 2021 if the flowchart tells you to. Your invoice must show all the information normally required on a VAT invoice. You need to tell your customer that you have applied the reverse charge and that they must account to HMRC for the VAT due. Your invoice must also show either the amount of VAT due or the rate due so that your customer knows how much to pay to HMRC. You also need to make it clear to your customer that they should pay the VAT to HMRC and not to you. Don't show the VAT as part of the amount you are asking your customer to pay to you. When completing your VAT return and accounting for VAT on sales, suppliers must not enter any output tax on sales under the reverse charge. The supplier only needs to enter the net value of the sale in box 6. When accounting for VAT on purchases, if you buy services subject to the reverse charge, you must enter the VAT due as output tax on your VAT return. Make sure you do not enter the net value of the purchase as a net sale. You may reclaim the input tax on your reverse charge purchases subject to the normal VAT rules. However, note that you can't use either the VAT cash accounting scheme or the flat rate scheme for any sales you make if the reverse charge applies to them. It may be time to consider whether these schemes are still right for you and whether it's time to withdraw from them. In terms of errors, HMRC understands that applying the reverse charge may cause some difficulties for some construction businesses at first. They've advised that they will apply a light touch in dealing with any errors you make in the first 6 months, as long as you try to comply with the legislation and are acting in good faith. HMRC officers may assess for errors during the light touch period, but will only consider penalties if you are deliberately taking advantage of the measure by not accounting for it correctly. If you make an error, you need to put it right as soon as possible. The longer underdeclared or overcharged sums remain outstanding, the more difficult it may be to correct or recover them. You can help to avoid errors by updating or upgrading your accounting systems and software to make sure they can deal with the VAT reverse charge and complete your VAT invoices and returns correctly. Although the reverse charge scheme doesn't apply until the 1st of March 2021, there are points that you should consider now. As mentioned, you will need to make changes to your invoicing and accounting procedures to take the reverse charge into account, but this may differ depending on whether you are a contractor, a subcontractor, or both. You should also consider the cash flow implications on your business of moving to the new regime, as there may be ways to mitigate the impact. On supplies that are subject to the reverse charge, VAT will no longer be charged. Businesses that have historically relied on the VAT element they receive from customers to help with cash flow will need to consider the impact of this. The reverse charge will apply to all jobs completed on or after the 1st of March 2021, but it may also apply to work that was started before this date but completed afterwards. Where the tax point is on or after the 1st of March 2021, the reverse charge should be applied even for work that was started before this date. Otherwise, the existing VAT rules apply. Rotherham Taylor are here to help, and we have considerable experience and expertise in the construction sector, working with both individuals and companies of various sizes, including investors and developers, to assist them with their tax and accounting requirements. Additional areas we can advise on include accounting support on issues such as income recognition, work in progress and asset classification, property and construction specific VAT advice and tax planning, CIS tax requirements and employment status matters, maximising capital allowance claims, research and development tax credits in construction, tax efficient property ownership, stamp duty land tax advice and planning, and property finance and the raising of finance. The rules surrounding the VAT reverse charge are complex, but it's important that you are compliant from day one. It is highly recommended that you seek professional advice, which is why we are standing by to help. For help and advice, please contact our expert team at Rotherham Taylor today, either by calling 01772 735 865 or email at info@rtaccountants.co.uk. Thank you.